for these last little bits, I decided to do a last part 2 for this because I'm not going over a full hour for one video anymore. I'm not doing it. Plus, right now, it's about almost 5 o'clock in the morning, and yeah. Continuing on. Riddle. Focus. Main focus. Riddle. Well, I will say this. Life is a stage, and all the people are merely cast members, and no cast member did a better job in Arkham City than Clayface. I love what they did with Clayface. They made him into a Riddle in Arkham Asylum, who I will say after the end of the game, and after he does make a comment that he saw the warden run like a little wimp. And then we find out that he's... Yeah, I do love the look of Clayface. Just as exactly what you would think when you think Clayface. Giant, massive clay, blacked out eyes, no real human look. And again, I love the twist. I personally didn't see it coming when I first played the game. I didn't like spoilers, so I ignored YouTube. But overall, Clayface gave, even though he was mainly in only one game, he gave the performance of a lifetime. Great final boss fight. Definitely gave the building blocks for people paying attention more to the small things in each game from now on, just so we don't get sucker punched. What we thought was a one-time boss fight turned into a main twist. Another main twist. Seriously, Arkham City gave us twist after twist after twist. And I love it. And being one of the best boss fights in the game. Ra's al Ghul. D. Bradley Baker. Amazing, amazing voice. Amazing style of look of the head of the demon. Fantastic character. Boss fight, even more so. Great story with it. What we thought was like a one-off. And then it's revealed he was technically the mastermind behind the whole Arkham City incident, just to destroy the world's criminal element. Not gonna lie. Had everyone going there. And it wasn't even thought of until like near the end of the game that Strange was working with someone. I don't know how. And then he returns in Arkham Shadow and Arkham Knight for the DLC. Yeah, I'm not giving this guy any more of that Lazarus. I'm just letting him slowly die out in the cell that we have. Not having it. Great DLC mission, but again, why give us a choice? Why? It's not that great. Great character, gets so high on the list because of his boss fight design and big twist in City. Surprisingly, one of the few characters left from Arkham Origins gets so high on the list. A retelling of a character. Great boss fight. Great usage of the combat system and what we've already done in Batman games. Because Copperhead, giving us this amazing female contortionist, reptilian aesthetic assassin. And yeah, Copperhead is a Batman villain and primarily a dude in a stupid snake motif. But having this chick actually fork her tongue and have these reptilian movements with her poisoned claws. And again, being one of the best boss fights in the game in Arkham Origins. One of the best boss fights in the game. And I like how we actually, she's again still utilizing the story of revealing that the assassins are gathering for a meeting, which gave us the idea to use less of the Electrocutioner's electro gloves to track them down. Top tier Batman moment. And the poison elements of her boss fight, yeah, it's Scarecrow 2.0. But it's done, like, again, so early on in Batman's career. So there's that still level of doubt in everything in his mind. And it's done fresh. So, for being a one-off villain, but giving us so much, Copperhead deserves to be this high on the list. With all these other amazing classic villains. Speaking of, once again, in the three of the main games, 2 quick side missions, 1 DLC. Oh, Frabjous Day, Kalu Calais, the Hatter is here to play. Mad Hatter. How to take such a goofy mind control villain, but make him to the level of Arkham Knight, the Arkham series creep factor and mature level. Oh God. Great utilization near the end of Arkham City by manipulating us to thinking that it's the cure that we were being sent, when it was just him messing with our mind and giving us a pretty good mind-bending scene as well, to Origins kidnapping someone and venturing into that amazing Wonder World aesthetic. Again, Scarecrow 2.0. And we get 2 of those in Arkham Origins, which is great. And then taking down the Hatter, fully realizing the whole aspect of what the Hatter basically almost did. Yeah, it's I never really realized that much until more investigation. Yeah, very, very, very dark. And then Arkham Knight gave us him back in this revenge scene with another amazing mind-bending scene, and going through the chapters, the fucking chapters of Arkham. From Origins to the Asylum to City to now, all to make Batman his Alice. I don't think the suit, I don't think it would fit on him though. But my biggest regret for the DLC of Season of Infamy is the fact that we didn't have we didn't have Mark Hamill voice during those missions. Because if you replay the game, they unlock after a certain point in the games. So why not have Hamill record voices of Joker and edit those in during these missions? They would have had a lot of fun moments. A lot of fun comments about Raish, Freeze, Croc, and Hatter. But I digress. Next up, we get what everyone said was the biggest fail of a surprise villain. And personally, I don't see it because, again, I never really read the comics, so I don't know a lot. I'm going to be honest, I like the Arkham Knight. I love the look. I loved having Batman facing someone who is his equal because he did train him. It was a surprise for me until we got to the Panessa Studio section, where they were bringing back sections of Jason Todd and all that. So it started to click for me where they were going with this. So yeah, again, Arkham Knight, like the design. I like throat's getting very dry. I like how they went with it and that they went for it. Having one of Batman's greatest enemies be someone that he let down and someone he trained, it works for me. Again, the whole Jason Todd aspect of it, again, I never read the comics. I never watched some of those movies when they were out, if it was before or after Arkham Knight. So it was a big surprise for me. So I enjoyed it. So yeah, Arkham Knight will definitely be one of my favorite twists, but not one of the best ones. And like I said, Troy Baker, you really love being a twist villain, don't you? We get the one that broke the bat and then didn't break the bat and then actually broke the bat. We got Bane, ladies and gentlemen, from being a great source of the story for Asylum and great design of him being super bulky and over the top, to him being needing our help in City. To betraying us and then us locking him in a elevator kind of cage. Dude, you're on Titan. Couldn't you have broken through all that? I mean, I guess they needed something with him, because they didn't even bring him back for Arkham Knight and just had his whole mask and tank in a shipping container for a riddle. Thanks. But Bane's biggest outing was in Arkham Origins. Earlier career years. Great design for Bane here. Gave us a hell of a fight. Not just being strong, but being smart. And, okay, the way he figured out that we were Bruce Wayne is so genius. Batman used the line that he used at the beginning with Vicky Vale. You just run out of time. And he uses it when the cops come to attack Batman and Bane and Joker. And Bane heard it. And he went to his lair and he played them side by side and the voice matched. I never realized that until a replay years later. And then the final boss fight with him, both times, with the regular and the TN1, having to sneak around him and then his short-term memory is gone, so he forgets that we're Batman. It was a great boss fight, great outing. great character for story way, for the way of the story of Origins. It's one of those things where a small villain can have such a big goddamn role and influence the story so much. And I like that they didn't cheese it. Like, of why he forgot, like, too many blows to the head, or they gave him something to make him forget. But no, it was because he was desperate enough to destroy the bat that he injected himself with that drug that would fuck up his memory. Because he was ready for it. Bane did a great job being our first boss fight, being not so great of a side mission, and giving us a main threat in the prequel. You fucked up not bringing him in night, but I'll take what I can get, ladies and gentlemen. Talking about something that had a great outing in again, what the fuck? WB Games gave us a lot of great characters in Origins. And then for some reason, Rocksteady decided to, let's cheapen it. Because Firefly, not gonna lie, was my number one pick for my flying bosses list. Because it was so entertaining, so story-driven. Really good use of his weaponry. And the setting of the broken bridge. To chasing him with the Batmobile. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't as bad as people thought, but could have done a little bit better. Not so much was done better, but design-wise, original, fully suited with his jetpack and his flamethrower and his flight suit, to having his glass broken and show that there's still some burns on it. The burns are under his body. To him fully revealing the burns in Arkham Knight. I like having his mission be correlated with also Chief Underhill and the firefighters being missing. I do enjoy that. I'm not going to lie. Really, really cool. I just wish Firefly was done a little bit more in Night and not just burning down the fire stations and everything. Could have been burning other buildings, giving us a better boss fight. But I digress. And now we get quite possibly, again, a boss that's in 3 of the games. Somewhat of a big presence in in 1. Only a small presence in number 2 and the other. Side mission, story, then side mission in the last one. Well, Cobblepot, you had a good outing. The Penguin. Giving us a great start to Arkham City. Building up everything that we need to know about a lot of the gadgetry, a lot of the weaponry, a lot of the enemies. Great usage of Penguin's abilities. Having us fight in a museum. His caches throughout Gotham. The boat in Origins. But then he, again, slowly fades a bit. Penguin was never the big threat in any of the games, and I'm okay for that. Nolan North, a great job of voicing Penguin. But I'm going to say this, Penguin, again, again, gives us two direct ways of story, with the cops and kidnapping Mr. Freeze, to being known about Black Mass putting the bounty on Batman's head. Although I will admit, though, both times we find Penguin, we are given a great boss fight with Grundy and Deathstroke. But then, again, afterwards, Penguin's basically done for the rest of the games. Until Arkham Knight, where we have the Nightwing duo taking down all of his weapon caches. I will say the Cockney old geezer definitely gave a great amount of presence through the games, but never star quality, and I'm okay with that. Now, we go for a villain that was in one game, but god damn it, did he not give it everything he had. Hugo Strange. From a great, perfect game, having an absolute presence, only being seen in the beginning and near the end of the game. Although we do hear his voice primarily throughout the speakers and throughout the game. Definitely a looming threat throughout the entirety of the game. And once again, having a small presence but being the big villain definitely gets some big points. And plus, I do like that throughout this little world, no one has Hugo under his thumb. I mean, Hugo isn't under anyone's thumb except for his master. And the big looming threat of Protocol 10 definitely gave us a lot to worry about. Throughout the game, he will say, Protocol 10 will commence in 9 hours. So you're telling me we went through 9 hours of this whole thing and it's always been nighttime? I digress. Again, being super jealous of Batman, as we've kind of indicated throughout some of the interview tapes, especially with Riddler, and how he's basically manipulated some of the events for Arkham City. Having, for example, Joker wanting more doctors, but he keeps killing them, and basically threatening Hugo. Riddler knowing some of Hugo's secrets, but then Hugo goes around and says he has the biggest riddle answer ever, really pissing off Riddler. Telling Catwoman where Dent has kept her inventory, and then telling Two-Face about it, but wanting him to free himself from the confines of his coin. To telling Penguin about the dirty cops that are undercover as his men. And the same thing with Freeze. Definitely gives forth a lot of control that he's had throughout the game, where in the big game or via what we've seen happen, and also what he's done within the interview tapes. And then having Protocol 11 just as a security precaution, just in case the worst should happen, was really, really well done. Strange had one outing as a great villain in the Arkham series, but he did such an incredible job doing it. Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who wants to outsmart the big bad bat? Yes, yes, yes. I know a lot of you hate doing this in every goddamn game. And honestly, so do I. But as a puzzler myself, I love a challenge. And after not playing Arkham Knight for about 4 years now, I don't mind going back and replaying some of my favorite ones. Hey, it's not like it's Arkham City where they're literally scoured throughout everywhere. And okay, no, actually they are scoured throughout everywhere. But yeah, Riddler, ladies and gentlemen, is my number 4 for my Arkham series villains list. A lot of you are probably pissed off, and yeah, we've all seen that Whiplash meme of the Riddler trophies, and I personally agree. But again, it could have been worse. I don't know how it could have been worse, but at least it wasn't. But guys, think about it. We got to literally have Riddler be outsmarted consistently. From Arkham Asylum, from only having his voice, and after each riddle and everything we find, we get to trace him down and send the cops to his location. So there's that. And I do like how he was an annoyance even without us being able to beat his head in. I mean, yeah, it was the first game, so they tried something. Found out how many people were annoyed by it, especially achievement hunters. So they decided to put more in Arkham City. Except this time, upping the stakes with Kit after doing the whole steel mill thing and us getting infected. Does he kidnap everyone in the church and make them our hostages with his little games after we complete so many trophies? I like the stakes. And then in Arkham Origins, we don't really get so much Riddler stuff there. We just get some of his blackmail data that he plans on releasing. So we gotta stop that. And then finding him later and finding the very first Riddler trophy. I do like the callback. And then Arkham Knight, kidnapping our girlfriend and giving her a nice blowing up collar. And okay, I will say this. While I do love Riddler's riddles and trophies and challenges in Arkham Knight better, especially at the orphanage, the Batmobile tracks do get a little irritating after a good while. Again, for a while, the puzzle sections of them I like, the racing sections of them I don't like. So at least give me that, guys. At least I don't like when we have to use the Batmobile to race around the city or do those underground racetrack courses that he does. Can I at least get a mulligan on that? But yeah, the 2 times we do get to beat down Riddler, it's oh so satisfying. So be thankful for that. And I still can't believe that they managed to do Riddler in goddamn VR. And I think they also did it in Shadows. So Riddler can never escape us in the Arkham series. And say what you want, but at least his presence in Origins was, not so annoying. But yeah, 3 villains outbeat him. So, yeah. Not so much in terms of a villain as he is just an absolute amazing developed character. They could have done so many things with this character that went outside the realm of what he is. But keeping him to the roots of what this character is was the best decision that they could have done. From Arkham City to the DLC in Arkham Origins to finally Arkham Knight, we give the cold comfort that we gave Victor Freeze, Mr. Freeze, in every single game. From being the main focus necessary for us to literally heal ourselves, to giving us literally one of the best boss fights ever constructed, not just in the Arkham series, but in gaming ever, making us actually think and not being able to cheese our way through it. To then giving us a full DLC exploring his backstory, which did it super well. And Maurice, who I met him, by the way, and loved him. Giving his voice to Victor Freeze in the Arkham series was perfect. And then his final DLC presence in Arkham Knight gave us the final send-off for Victor and Nora. Leaving their fate in the wind, and so beautifully done. Mr. Freeze, to me, has never been a villain, with the exception of the Batman cartoon, where he was amazingly voiced by the impeccable Clancy Brown. I'm just going to say that. But the Arkham series gave us what the animated series Batman gave us for Victor. A sympathetic character who was only trying to save his wife. And it was beautiful. So that's what gets him so high on this list in terms of the villains list. But there's only 2 characters left that could possibly be on this list, and I bet you already know who's next, guys.
Joke's on you.
Nope. For once in my life, Joker isn't the top of the list. The Clown Prince of Crime is the focal point of every single goddamn game. He takes a back seat in Arkham Shadows, and I thank God for that. Mark Hamill returning once again to take up the clown, the jester of genocide, and give us the starting point of the amazing series to come. From being kept in his schemes in darkness and colorful murder and absolute psychotic laugh out loud craziness. From the asylum to being a unwilling comrade and technically blackmailing us with our life in city, to having plans upon plans upon plans. To being a big twist takeover villain in Arkham Origins and giving the Dark Knight his first look of the truly insane mentality of his future rogues gallery. Voiced by the incredible Troy Baker, to becoming our own delusional psyche in Arkham Knight and giving us banter that is absolutely perfect. From his grandiose opus of Arkham Asylum to his unwitting downfall and the last smile on his face in Arkham City, to the many, many pranks and many, many schemes that happen after the origins, to his final send-off and sorrowful comeuppance in Arkham Knight. Joker in Arkham will always be one of the best. But there has been a character that has given us a lot more. A character that's been a threat because of the main villain being absent and then making a comeback so great. There is no Crane, only Scarecrow. Yes, I am giving my number one pick of the Arkham villains to the one and only Jonathan Crane, a.k.a. Scarecrow. The master of fear, the psycho who invades your dreams and creates absolute nightmares of terror into your psyche, all for his own research and to drive Gotham into madness through phobia. I'm very mad that he wasn't used in Arkham City, but he was. He was. For those who seeked into the lore of the hidden Easter eggs of Arkham City. First, being in Joker's party planner, sending us thrice into a maddening world of our own past and fears, giving us some of the best illusion and mind-tripping not boss fight, but boss-ish sections, twisting the medical building, the Arkham Mansion, and the intensive care unit into our own collaborated mind-melding moments of failing Barbara, failing our parents, seeing Bruce's the little bit of the backstory that created the Bat, and to literally causing gamers to thought their game would crash. Because there's nothing scarier to a gamer than going after hours spending in a great game, it crashes and you got to restart it all. So that was clever. That was absolutely clever. And right by his old Scarecrow mask of a Riddle, if you are able to go into the boat in Arkham City and see the fruits of his labor, to which also a radio message in Morse code saying that he will be back, to being the main focal threat of Arkham Knight and giving us the city of fear in all of its terrifying glory. After a run-in with our scaly villain, making him weak and his face nearly ripped to shreds, he dons a new mask of his fleshy face to implement his iconic Scarecrow mask. Scarecrow gathered all of Gotham's rogues and planned a single night of revenge to take down the Dark Knight and to reveal him all for his fears. And I said I wasn't going to mention it again, but Elijah Wood as young Crane giving us that amazing Shadow Bat boss fight in Arkham Shadows. Again, I never played it. I watched the whole thing. And I love, just look at this. This definitely looks like what he would look like as a young human. I mean, he's a human, but young before the Scarecrow. And even his tie is the signature noose that Scarecrow always wears around his neck. Also, in Arkham Knight, having the voice of one of my favorite villains, underrated villains, Leland Monroe from L.A. Noire, be Scarecrow's voice is perfect. And only 4 years between those games, and it was beautiful. Scarecrow becoming a man and losing his ability to be swift, working in the shadows, allowing others to do his dirty work, teaming up with the Dark Knight for this grand scheme. And in the end, he was the one to unmask the Bat, only for his own, to finally see what happens when someone finally conquers their greatest fear and overcomes it. It's the build-up that makes Scarecrow my favorite Arkham villain. From being an accomplice to Joker schemes, to being absent in one of the biggest games of ever, to coming back for the final night and exacting his revenge after years and fully changing himself. From being a swift and cunning villain to being a dismembered and weakened, but still a threat in his presence. Scarecrow is my #1 Arkham villain. For all of his terrifying notions and schemes, and his evolution to becoming a supreme villain. Oh boy, I'm going to need a lot of sleep after this one, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining in for these videos. Like, comment, subscribe down below. March Madness has just begun here, ladies and gentlemen, in the Game Hub. So join me next time, where I'm hopefully going to be celebrating a very special day by going over my favorite characters as we hit the war pipe and see what great characters lie beyond the Mushroom Kingdom and beyond. This is Gamer K, logging out.